All right, today we're going to flip the script on what we normally think of as quality. We're moving past that old idea of just checking the final product. Instead, we're going to dive into how you can build quality right into the process from the very start.
Oh man, we've all been there, haven't we? You're at the finish line, about to hand off a project, and bam, you spot a huge error. It's that sinking feeling in your gut. It's frustrating, it's stressful, and as we're about to see, it is an absolutely backward way to get things done.
Yeah, that old make it and then check it approach, it's basically a dinosaur. In the world we live in now, especially in high-stakes industries like automotive, finding a problem at the final inspection means you've already burned through time, materials, and a whole lot of money. The mistake is already baked in, and there's no easy fix. We have to work smarter.
Okay, so first up, let's really break down why that old method just doesn't work anymore. We'll get into why modern quality management requires a totally new way of thinking.
This slide right here, this is the core of everything we're talking about. It's a huge shift. Instead of just staring at the finished car seat, we need to manage every single step that created it. And maybe even more important is this second point. We need to stop being problem catchers and become problem preventers. That's where the real magic happens.
So, to make this whole process approach idea really click, we're going to use a super simple analogy. It's all about a birthday cake and a car seat. Sounds a little weird, I know, but trust me, it perfectly shows the mental shift we need to make.
But first, let's get on the same page. What even is a process? Well, simply put, it's just a bunch of related steps that take inputs, things like materials or data, and transform them into an output that a customer actually wants.
Now check this out. It's kind of funny how similar the basic logic is, right? For the cake, your inputs are flour and sugar. For the car seat, it's a metal frame and foam. Both have a recipe or a method. Both need people and tools. But, and this is the key difference, if your cake comes out a little lopsided, who cares? It still tastes good. If a car seat has even a tiny mistake, well, the consequences are obviously massive.
And that right there is why a factory process is a totally different beast. You're not just trying to make one good car seat. You have to make thousands, maybe millions of them that are absolutely identical, meeting precise requirements day in and day out. You need a level of repeatability and predictability that you just don't need for a cake in your kitchen.
So the big question is, how do we get that kind of control? Well, that brings us to our next section, where we'll look at two really powerful tools for mapping out and understanding any process: the 8M framework and the SIPOC method.
Okay, think of the 8Ms as your go-to checklist for a solid process. You got to ask, do we have the right manpower with the right training? Are our methods clear and effective? Are the machines capable? Are we using the correct materials? Is our measurement system accurate? What about Mother Nature, the environment we're working in? Is management providing the right support? And finally, is our maintenance program on point? If any one of these is shaky, the whole process can fall apart.
So the 8Ms give us an awesome look inside the process. But here's the thing. No process exists in a bubble. To really get it, we need to zoom out and see how it fits into the bigger system.
And that is where the SIPOC tool comes in handy. It stands for Supplier, Input, Process, Output, and Customer. Now here's the pro tip. You actually start in the middle with the P for process. You've got to understand what the process actually does first. Then you work your way out from there to identify the outputs, the customers, the inputs, and the suppliers.
So why is this so powerful? Because it forces us to see the connections we might otherwise miss. It helps you realize the customer for your car seat assembly line might not just be the car company. It might be the very next station on the line, or the logistics team that needs the seats packed a certain way. SIPOC helps break down those silos.
So once we've mapped our process and we understand it inside and out, we can add the next critical layer, a proactive, protective mindset, and we call this risk-based thinking.
This question, this single question, is probably the most important one in all of modern quality. We can't just be satisfied asking, is everything okay today? We have to be constantly looking over the horizon, trying to guess what could go wrong, and then taking action before it does. That's what prevention is all about.
Now, it's really important to get the distinction here. Risk-based thinking is a daily mindset. It's a culture of asking what if all the time. On the other hand, a formal risk analysis, something like an FMEA, is a very structured, heavy-duty tool you pull out for the really big, complex risks. You absolutely need both, the daily habit and the big tool for when you need it.
You know, the best analogy I can think of is planning a hike up a mountain.
You wouldn't just wander out the door, right? No way. You check the weather forecast, you pack a rain jacket just in case, you let someone know your route. You aren't reacting to a thunderstorm, you're preparing for the possibility of one. That right there is risk-based thinking.
And this brings us to a crucial point. This way of thinking isn't just for managers or the folks in the quality department. For this to really work, this preventative mindset has to be part of everyone's job, from the person on the line all the way up to the CEO.
And this table here just lays it out perfectly. An operator on the line spots a damaged part and pulls it before it can cause a problem. That's risk-based thinking. A quality tech designs a new system with color-coded bins to make sure the wrong parts can't be mixed up. That's risk-based thinking. And top management makes a deal with a second supplier just in case the main one has an issue. Guess what? That's also risk-based thinking. The scale is different, but the mindset is exactly the same.
And so, this brings us full circle, right back to our main idea. You simply cannot inspect quality into a product after it's been made. It doesn't work. Quality has to be designed, planned, and built into every single step of the process, from the very beginning to the very end.
So I'm going to leave you with this one thought. The next time you're at work, looking at what you do, don't just ask the easy question, is this good enough for right now? Ask the better question, the more powerful question. What could possibly stop this from being okay tomorrow? Because answering that question, that's how you truly build quality in.